All
from my
right,
soul
we are
family.
live.
Ladies and
All right.
gentlemen, welcome back to the Rabbit Hole Podcast, where we do mediocre research and give our unwanted opinion about a topic that you probably don't care about. I'm joined again this week by my lovely co-hosts and a special guest. And I'll go ahead and let Christian kind of
Yeah,
fill you in on.
so we're joined by Mr. Sean Christopher today. He reached out to us. Actually, one of his acquaintances reached out to us over a picture that we had posted on Facebook that is taken in the 1930s, I believe, or 40s, 30s, I believe it
1940.
was.
1940.
1940. Okay.
Mhm.
And said that Sean was actually in the picture. So we knew we had to get Sean out here and we had to figure out what was going on with this. So Sean's going to give us his whole back, or his, little background here on how he was in that picture and what that's all about. And, Sean's, his big thing is that he was in the secret space program. So I'm just going to let him go from there and tell us about that. So whenever you're ready, sir.
Awesome. Well, guys, I just want to say I want to give it back to you guys, and these guys are doing a great job putting out some amazing information. So this is just tip of the iceberg. So thanks, Christian and CJ and Tristan. I really appreciate you guys having me on your show.
Thanks,
Heard
man.
a lot of great things, and so
Good.
and but so yeah. So everyone, my name's Sean Christopher, and I've lived a crazy life.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. And so I guess where it really started for me, I've always known I wasn't really from here, and a lot of us, uh, we've always had that sense of this place just didn't really make a lot of sense, and has always really connected with the stars and uh, and extraterrestrials and UFOs and all that cool stuff that everyone is now all into. It's all the truth. And so fast forward, I was taken into the secret space program at the age of 6. So my dad, well, he worked for Lockheed Martin, worked for General Dynamics, and I guess he was telling people about me, and I was a very highly intelligent child, like way smarter than all the other kids, and so I was taken at the age of 6, and of course, these recalls are just in the last few years. I don't remember it, while I was a child, because the amnestics of when they, like when they put you in these programs, the amnestics, they kind of like they use like these chemical blanking or this chemical mind wiping chemicals to blank your memory, and also overlay holographic false images. To let's say like if you went to like a have some training, well your image maybe went to a museum with all the other students,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw a bunch of dinosaurs, right? Something
Right.
like that. And so just normal stuff. But fast forward, I remember then the recalls started coming in back in 2017, and I remember, what do I remember? Man, it's pretty crazy. I remember waking up in a ship. Well, back up. I remember it was December 24th, and I remember seeing it like this ship. Like I was a little child. It was Christmas Eve, and looking out my parents' window, and I see this light going above um, this pecan tree that we had out back.
Okay.
It's about 40, 50 feet up. And I was like, oh, it's Santa Claus.
Not quite.
Right? Yeah, right? Yeah, yeah, surprise. And so I remember going to bed, and my mom was kind of, she was there. Then she got up, and I remember having this sense of someone watching me, like from my doorway. Like you could
Mhm.
just have that sixth sense of feeling some eyes are on you. And then boom, went to sleep. Like woke up the next morning. It was Christmas. No big deal. Well, you fast forward, then I remember, oh, well, there were some people like, or some agents, like they were like, I guess they were cloaked or something, and they came in there and you know they took me, and I remember waking up on, it was like a craft, some kind of a ship, and there was like red lights, and they woke me up, and they're like, "Okay, we're here." Like, Sean, it's time to get up.
Hmm.
And there was a man dressed like in all black, like a black ops uniform, like a
Okay.
little green beret, like a little green beret hat, like a black beret hat.
Uh-huh.
He had a mustache, and younger guy. And remember, we landed, and we're, now I know to be like S4 or Area 51.
Okay.
This huge tarmac.
Wow.
Yeah, and we
So
get
that's
out.
so
How
that's the first recall that you have.
Yes.
Okay.
First recall.
Okay.
Yes.
How old were you at this time? Like,
Six years old.
okay, so 6 is when, okay, this happened.
And you just started calling. You just recalled this in 2017.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay, so I have a question actually. They
yeah,
did
please.
like what you're saying they did like a memory replacement therapy on you, kind of?
Like a Manchurian Candidate kind of thing.
Well, see, the human avatar is a electromagnetic device that holds information. Okay, so it's like a memory stick. So
Uh-huh.
if whatever you see and do, the experiences can be downloaded onto like a quantum computer. Okay,
Wow.
because see, when a star, some of the a star seeds in these and our like indigos, and because I'm a part of the Galactic Federation, so like the Draconians, they know they know exactly who you are when you come. Okay, because basically you have a like your higher self are in the ships, and then you build a copy of yourself, and they get shot off of the ship as light, and the cover story is shooting stars. Okay,
So that's like consciousness is traveling back and forth.
well, there's real ships above us, and
Right.
it's just ourself. Like, imagine me
Right.
up in that ship, but has
Mhm.
like a 6 or 8, like level of consciousness and a physical body,
Okay.
and I can build myself again to go play the
Okay.
game.
I see what you're saying. Okay. I'm tracking.
Okay,
Okay.
and so you put a soul aspect of yourself into this little avatar.
So what we're
Okay.
seeing right now is not your real self. We're seeing the avatar of you.
It's a version, yes.
Gotcha,
It's
okay.
an avatar, right?
Okay.
Just like the movie Avatar, exactly, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
okay,
and-
yeah.
Okay. And so yeah, like you build a version of yourself, you put like, so it has an experience, like a 3D, like a human experience,
Mhm.
and it's basically learning. It's unwinding all the karma and getting ready for your soul transference of your higher self in a later point of time.
Okay.
Okay. So, anyways, very interesting how these technology devices are actually used for. Really, really, it's amazing how the humans have figured out how to use these devices to go in different time locations and transfer consciousness. It's really fascinating. And so I remember, like, going back to the story, we're walking on the tarmac, and there's a huge, what do you call those things? Oh, help me out, guys. There's a
Like a hanger?
hangar. Thank you, hangar door.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is huge, huge. And I remember seeing like a B-2 bomber, a stealth fighter, SR-71, and then inside the hangar there's like the 700-foot like black triangle, like TR-3B is levitating off the ground, and I could tell it was like their flagship. I was running
Okay.
over there, and I was like, oh wow, and I was like in awe. And the guy's like, come on, let's go over here. We gotta go. And so we're walking towards the door. There's like a little office door. Walk in there. It's like a dummy room, pretty much. I remember he pressed some buttons, and the whole room drops down.
Okay.
And we're going down. It seemed like maybe thousands of feet. I mean, we're on this thing for a few minutes.
Right.
and going down, and then finally stops, and we're like in this hallway, kind of like a narrow hallway, and walking maybe 100 feet or so, 200 feet, and it comes like this vault door, this big like a bank vault door, and on the left hand side there's like a place for him to like put his hand and check his eyes, to
Right.
On the retinal scanner. Yeah.
yeah, like your biometrics.
Yeah.
And then did that, and you hear this clunk, 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 boom, and it's all in the inside, and it opens from the inside, and going in on the inside, and then there's like this. I call him the MP, like a military police guy, but he had like this futuristic body armor suit, like a very thin bodysuit with like a kind of like a helmet, kind of like an Iron Man, but he had
Okay.
but the front shield was up, and I could see the guy's face, and he had like this rail gun, and I just called him the MP because he was there to protect, he was, and so we go in, they shut the door, and we go into a room, and I sit down like in this like dentist chair, like like old dentist chairs, the long ones.
Right.
Sit there, and this lady comes, like a doctor, and she had like this white coat on. No time. Okay, not sure why I popped up. Anyways, and then she goes, hi Sean, how you doing? And it's like, I'm doing good. And they put this little like device on my head, kind of like in the movie X-Men, like the Cerebro thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, something like that. And then I remember it had these, and then this crystal screen that came down from the ceiling, like a big screen TV, but it was just like a crystal, like it was transparent.
Okay.
Wow.
And it started like reading my brain waves, and there was like a little runway or a stairway above,
Right.
and there was men looking,
Like a catwalk above you.
catwalk. There
Yeah.
you go. Thank you. And they were like scanning my brain and seeing like what parts were activated, but they had this little dial. It's like a little dial, and basically they could tune in and they could see all of your consciousness, like all of your lifetimes, because your double helix DNA is just, like they say, 80% is junk. Well, those are your trillion, billions and trillions of life experiences imprinted magnetically into you.
Okay.
And that's how they reverse. They get that's why they get us, because they know who we are, and they can find out who we are. Like, oh, you've been a Pleiadian captain, or you've been this, and they can see the point of view. And so now they can reverse technology and get all the technology and find out how it works. That's why
Okay.
that's why this human being avatar is so worth billions and trillions to them, because they want your past.
Wow.
Okay.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, and we all probably played quite a few of the games too. And I mean, basically traveling from point to point in history, being a different person. So I mean, is this like a form of reincarnation though? Like, is it, or I mean, are you the same person throughout all of this experience?
It's always you, but you have different avatars.
Right.
Okay.
Different shells.
Okay.
Different shells, exactly.
Okay.
If you guys ever saw Assassin's Creed, there's a machine called the Animus.
Mhm.
Yep.
And they put the little sigil in the back of the guy's neck, and it reads, and they're like, oh, there's Aguilar. It's an energy signature. Like, we found Aguilar. And then they can basically pull you back into that time, and that's how they start to can kind of manipulate and find out where stuff is and how you operate it, and so they were just going through my my consciousness, and they saw some stuff, obviously. And I remember the lady, she was like, okay, well, she goes, so your dad tells me that you're a pretty smart little boy and you're all into the pyramids, because I was drawing the Great Pyramids before I even knew what the Great Pyramids were, and telling my teachers they were like these machines and how they worked, and she was like, what? And she could like talk to my parents, and my parents were like, we've never been to Egypt, I don't know what you're talking about.
So question though, you're saying
Yeah.
that the pyramids are machines. How, like, what are they, and like, what's their purpose?
They're called world energy engines, and they power your planet. They power all planets. There's basically they harness energy, and there's over 3,000 of them on your planet, and they're in the shape of the flower of life. Sacred
So
geometry.
we're talking like Mayan, Aztec, Egyptian, any kind of pyramid that's on this planet is an engine.
Yes, they
Wow.
are engines.
Wow.
They are world energy generators, and they power all planets. That's free energy, because everything is energy, and but I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
And so and I'm like, yeah, and she's like, well, you're gonna see something that very few people have ever seen or experienced. I'm like, okay. I remember we got up and we were walking, and as we were walking out of the room and down this hallway, we're met by a reptilian officer, like a reptilian being. He was I was a little kid, so I'm thinking he was very big to me. He was, 7 or 8 feet tall. Now, I can compare, and about 7 or 8 feet tall, and he had like this overcoat, and it was the doctor, it was the MP, and then there was my dad there too. And this reptilian, he wanted to take me into their program, and he started to kind of argue and talk with the doctor. And I could tell he was getting very agitated. And so the MP he was in front of me, and he kind of put me behind him like this. And he said to the officer, he goes, you don't have the clearance, nor do you have the authority, sir, to take this boy. And you could see like this reptilian was getting mad and angry, and he was, he wasn't backing down. He wanted to take me for them, or he wanted me in theirs. And they're like, sir, you need to stand down. And he got the gun, and he turned the gun on. He's like, you stand down, sir. You do not have the authority, and I will open fire. So the officer, or the reptilian officer, he backed down, So we went on. That was kind of interesting. Imagine being a little kid and you see like this,
Yeah.
so much
8 foot tall reptilian being.
Yeah.
Scare the shit out of me.
I'd be shitting my pants. Yeah.
Yeah, no big deal, right? It's just another day in the life, But so that was just part of it, and then it gets better as we go into this room. That's where they have like this like a Stargate, and then basically they opened up the Stargate. We went through to the Giza Plateau. And it was at nighttime when we went through, and we went through the Giza Plateau, and there was a huge ship above the Giza Plateau, like a circular or like a disc-shaped ship.
Mm-hmm.
Huge. I mean, it was over the whole pyramid. Huge. And there was 3 beings. There was 3 Pleiadians there to greet me as we went through the gate. And there's 2 men and 1 woman.
And who were you? Who were these people? You said you gave them a term.
They're called Pleiadians. They're like
Pleiadians.
future humans. It's just
Okay.
another race of humans. It's basically us at about 2 or 3 million years.
Okay,
Earth
so just a super evolutionized
it's just a
version
future
of us, kind of.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
more advanced race that they created us. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty interesting. They basically they help to seed this planet and they watch over kind of like the protectors of humanity. And there's a lot
So
of
you're saying they
Pleiadian.
uplifted us? I don't know if you're familiar with uplifting, but they uplifted us from apes or whatever it was to where we're at now, evolution wise. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we didn't come from apes. Yeah, that's
Right.
been some that's a that's a pseudo science or the science that they want to tell you. No, we
Right.
human like the human Christos template is a very humans have always been around. It's just
Okay.
we've always existed in many forms. But the humans here, they were seeded, 300,000 or 400,000 years ago.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just a different version. The word
Right.
hue means color. Mon is like the one, and like there's like many colors of the one. There's different bipedal versions
Okay.
of humans. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. Basically, they're my star family, and they were like, "Oh, hi, Sean. It's so good to see you again." But this is not through speech. This is all telepathy. And
Oh.
there's a woman who's I know here now. It's like herself is here, but that's like I met. That was her future or her higher self version, and the other two I know here today now as well. Pretty crazy. Mhm.
So is there many of you here now, or is there just a select few?
There's many of us. Yes.
Many. Okay.
Hmm. Absolutely. We
So
yeah.
let me ask one quick question here, real quick.
Please, sure, go ahead.
So when you're saying that you know them here now, you're saying that energy signal or that energy signal that you're talking about, right?
Uh-huh.
You're of the
Yeah.
same energy signal as those Palladians that you met in Giza. Okay.
Yes, it's them. It's just they like them, and I said they created themselves as to look like they do. Like there's just humans up there. There's just people that look like us
Right.
up in those ships. There's not aliens.
Right.
It's not a bunch of. The word alien is a lie. See? A lie.
Yeah.
Huh. So like, if anyone's aliens, we're the aliens. Like, we just inhabit these avatars to blend into the local species, and we
Right.
learn and we have an experience. But we're the protectors of humanity. And so yeah. So Jody, her name's Jody Dreyer. She was there. Her future version of herself was there. Jerry Sargent and my soul brother David Rousseau. Those are and like we're like close as anything here now.
Wow.
We
Wow.
found
That's crazy.
ourselves. And there's a picture actually. My friend David Rousseau, he does galactic art, and before I even like came to realization of who these people were, he had done a picture, made a galactic picture, like a digital picture of that event.
Wow.
And I found, yeah.
Wow. That's
Crazy.
crazy. That is crazy for sure. Dang.
It really is. It's cool. And
Yeah. Very good.
yeah, I'll have to send it to one of you guys and show you. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We would love to see that.
Yeah.
Because Jody is my girlfriend, and it looks just like the picture of her looks like her now, and Jerry, he is over in the UK, and it looks just like him in the picture, and David, it looks just like him now. Like
Yeah.
and I was like, holy, but.
Did he
crazy.
realize what he was drawing whenever he was drawing it, or was it kind of like a no?
Subconscious.
No, it was just a image that he had, and it's like
Yeah.
a piece of the puzzle, and that piece of the puzzle was meant to, kind of awaken me a little bit and be like, oh my God, it's like we're all little pieces of like we're all keys to the whole, and we're all the whole key.
Yep.
We're all
Wow.
here to fire each other up. Yeah, it's crazy.
That is for sure crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like a sleeper agent thing where you guys kind of like activate yourselves. Like you have to be like kind of in a proximity within one another to kind of like activate yourselves, maybe.
You're spot on, man. It's like, we
Okay.
come here in teams, kind of like you guys. Like you guys are all came here as team, like as soul brothers,
Yeah.
and you always do that. And I can tell we're soul family because I feel you guys. You guys have good energy.
We try.
Good.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's fun. It's like when you start to increase your consciousness, and as we say, your vibration raises. You just start to connect the dots, and you just have that inner knowing for things. It's really fun.
There is a level of curiosity that I think has been embedded within the four of us since we were, younger. I mean, just
Yeah.
a level of
definitely.
curiosity is the best way I can describe it. Just, I mean, we've always kind of been. We grew up in a really small town of 800 people,
Mm-hmm.
and we're always the ones that ask the questions. It's a very religious town,
Mm.
in the Bible Belt, and the four of
Yeah.
us were kind of always the ones that asked the questions and questioned the authority of what was put out in front of us.
Yeah.
And so I do believe you're right in a sense that we are connected in a way, and I believe that there's a connection that we can have with other people as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's like we come in these different teams, but you can start to feel the energy signature.
Mhm.
It's like that's my family, or like that's me in a different timeline. It's just
Yep.
you. Like you have multiple versions of yourself in these time matrices. It's fun. Hey, what's going on, Tyler? There he is. There's Tyler.
Hey, I've been the one talking a lot.
What's up, brother?
Yeah, for
Hey,
some
buddy.
reason this is only showing a certain amount of people at a time.
It's all good.
Oh, well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now you can see my face.
Yeah, nice to your pretty face, man. Good,
Yeah.
good. And so yeah, man. So they show up, they take my hand, they have some kind of device. They press a device. We actually went in like where you can walk through solid material. We actually walked through the pyramid. Okay.
Okay.
And we went in there, and they said you're gonna need to go. It told me you're going to need to know how to turn these on one day because you're going to be one of the ones to help to bring free energy to this planet. You need to know what they are and how they operate and what they do. And they said these are called world energy engines, and they power your planet. They power all planets. It's a machine, and they activated it because basically it harnesses energy. So it was powering up their ship as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they turned this world energy engine on, and the thing started like it started to make like a ohm, like om, like a real deep om.
Right.
Yep.
And it started to vibrate, and this blue and white light just started to get brighter and brighter, and the whole damn thing lifted off the ground. It just started to levitate about
Dang.
about 2 or 3 feet off the ground. I mean, it was just so intense. It's like your whole inside. It's like if you ever been to the way I can compare it, like if you've been to like those bass competitions, you hop in those cars and they turn the bass on, and your internal organs like
Yeah. Yeah.
Shatter
like
out of your
that.
chest. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, the energy.
So do
And
these engines like pull from the core? Like is that how it operates? Does it pull like from the core of the earth or the planet?
you got it. Yeah, it pulled like the magnetism. See, so we have electricity from up top and the magnetism from the ground, and when they come together, it's the electromagnetic field. And they said when one comes online, they all come online.
Oh wow.
Like the grid has been deactivated. It was on this draconian grid to harness energy for like for loose and for lower vibrational energy. And so our grid, our crystalline grid, had been shut down. It wasn't operating correctly for the human being to create.
Okay.
So I do have a question. You've mentioned
Please.
the Draconians a couple of times now. Are we going to get to the point where where you explain who they are, or I mean, what are or who are the Draconians?
Alpha Draconians, they're a very advanced species of beings. Technologically, I mean, they're a very ancient race. They came here, many thousands of years ago, and they took over the planet. They took over humanity, and they made us a slave race.
Okay.
And then they started to get humans to do their work because technically they can't show themselves. They would violate galactic law. But then they can build a human avatar, and they can put the soul aspect or the aspect of themselves inside that. That's why you guys have probably seen like some of these shape-shifting humans. It's because their DNA has to match the energy signature of the Draconians or the Anunnaki, so they can fit into like harmonically and frequency. Frequency matches frequency. Makes
Okay.
sense.
One second.
So-
You
'Cause I
mentioned
know Tristan just got his mind blown
yes.
because you said
Yeah,
Anunnaki.
you said Anunnaki.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you are the person that I want to ask this about. Who are the Anunnaki? Are they because I've talked about it in a past episode, and the research that I have done and the hypothesis that I have created myself is that I actually have a couple of theories. The Anunnaki either genetically modified us to create humans, or the Anunnaki came here, found humans, and kind of did what you said the Draconians did and enslaved us, went to war with us.
They altered our DNA.
They did. Okay.
They like research the Emerald Order and research the human Christos, or yeah, the Christos realignment mission, and I'll send you guys some information. Cause we could go 3 hours in that.
Okay.
But they basically unplug parts of our DNA to keep us on one frequency band. Imagine being like on a radio station for 300,000 years on a low vibration, kind of like in a theta, like in that movie They Live, where they have the glasses and everyone's like in a daze.
Yes.
Like,
And they put them on and you can see what's really going on. Yeah.
That's why they call it Days of the Week, because everyone is dazed and weak. It's word magic.
Okay.
Yeah. So like this computer device has only been getting signals on a theta signal. It's very like it's like you're sleeping pretty much. But some of us came in with spiritual immune systems and higher frequencies and different DNA strands, and we are immune to that crap. So that's why we could see through the veil, see through the illusion our whole life. Okay, like you guys, we were anchored into the third, and we were anchored into like the sixth dimension. That's why we're called the indigos, because it comes from the throat. This is like your chakra system is a electromagnetic portal to consciousness, and it's like a turquoise, like an indigo color. That's why they call us the indigo children, because that's where we come from, is the sixth dimension. We come through that portal of consciousness. So we have a sixth dimensional and a third dimensional, and that's why we play here and we play here, and we finally realize that's not real over there, and so we've been pulling. Yeah, so it makes sense.
Blowing my mind a little bit.
Yeah, you just gotta stop me because I get really far out
it makes
there.
sense. It just takes a second to like
process it.
We're still anchored too much in the third, I think. So we kind of take a little bit longer to make our way over.
Yeah,
that's okay. Yeah, all right.
But
we're all gonna make our way over there.
So I have actually, because the whole episode was based off of the picture that we posted, right? So like that's the whole reason you reached out to us, was because you are that person in the picture.
Yeah. So
I kind of want to, I want to kind of go over that.
Yeah. Let's fast forward for sure. So, having recalls being in the last couple of years about time travel, and started to have recalls of seeing me being in like New York when they were building this Empire State Building, and it's like, man, because I know dreams are just having an experience in another timeline.
Right.
Like this device, like the phone may be dark, have a dark screen, but it's still on. So you
Right.
can transfer, touch it, and you come back and forth. So you're living like two different, multiple lives, multiple yous are going on. And so, as time goes on, I'm having all sorts of crazy recalls, and having had experiences with being with our president, Donald Trump, walking with him, and we're friends. He's, and I'm walking with him and Milena, and we got two big old Secret Service guys behind us. And I'm like, what's up with that time travel? And he's like, shut up, people are listening. He's like, just walk with me, I'll tell you about it. And then he was talking a little bit about it. And next thing you know, we're on a ship. And then we're at this round table with like military personnel and other like humanoid beings, and beings that didn't look like us. And they sat me down with these big files, and they like said, here, these files are like, here. And they're like, what's that? And they're like, that's who you've been helping to basically get information on, and you help to have them or all this information has led to their capture, arrest, and soon execution. And there was like a file on Barack Obama. I'm like, oh, all these, and they're like, take your time. And these files have pictures, videos, things, things no one should ever see. But that's what we do, right? And then going through all these files and reading, looking at all this horrible things that they've been involved with. And then the next file, Hillary Clinton, looking at all these things, horrible this thing. And then next thing you know, I'm looking at the Pope and all of his constituents. And they said, you were responsible for them. Those were your people, your main people that you helped take down. I'm like, good, awesome. And I've had a few more encounters with Trump. So what we did pretty much is like came from a future timeline, go back. We met with his younger self. Of course, you have to present information and some type of proof. If you saw someone says, "Hey, I'm from the future," you'd be like, whatever. Like, hey, we need you. Like we need your help. We showed him information and said, we need you. And we showed him video. So he agreed. He agreed to help. And we've been assisting him and helping him with all this that's going on right now. He's like one of us. This is just,
Really?
remember, this is a device that houses consciousness. So Trump is a pseudonym. Like his real family name is I believe it's his last name is Christ. His real name is like Christ. His last name is Christ. If you look up his real family last name, it's Christ. Not Trump. Trump is just like a pseudonym. Like he got Trump card, And, so he works. So he's just playing a different role in the movie. But then I started seeing this picture of the time traveler. I found the video. I'm like, holy shit, that's me. that's me. Well, Braylorn, British Columbia, is a gold mining town, guys. And what's going on right now with all the gold and gold-backed currency, right? So, and those glasses I have on, those are blue Dicanian glasses. Just like in the movie They Live. You can see auras, and you can see people like through the veil, through the illusion of the avatar. You can see it. They might be like a reptilian or like a mantis or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm following.
interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so that's something I wanted to ask too. Is you mentioned the what's it called, like this galactic team that you're a part of?
Galactic Federation.
Galactic
Yep.
Federation. Yep. Okay. I was just wondering what is specifically like your job here is to do that, is to like basically scope out and find imposters.
Man, we have
Right.
so many different. I wouldn't even say a job. It's just we have so many different things that we come here to do. You
Yeah.
know, part of our
Responsibilities, kind of.
part of our
Okay.
mission was to expose the darkness. You know, like and to get millions of people to talk about the truth. Because a few years back, you talked about, the Illuminati and deep state. They were like conspiracy and whole world. And you talk about, that there's a
Absolutely.
worldwide pedophile, death cult syndicate, and they'd be like, oh my God, are you lost? Now it's like the truth, right? Because we exposed it, guys, like amazing humans like me and you guys, because we
didn't give up. Didn't give up. Can you hear me? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, you had an audio cut out there for a second.
Someone called me. Yeah.
Oh,
Let's see if I can hear.
Can you hear us?
I was gonna say, might have to leave real quick and come back on so I can hear you guys.
okay. I'll pause the recording. That's fine.
Yeah, just pause the recorder.
Oh, you're good, man.
Oh, you're all right. No problems.
Yeah. Good. So, yeah, where's I? So yeah, so it's a gold mining town.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we were there getting gold. We were there because they had just opened up this new gold mine. We were there scoping out the gold and purchasing the gold mine because you're about to see a lot of gold-backed currency on this planet, especially in the U.S.
Okay. With the coming, I know when you had talked to CJ earlier, you had mentioned the whole buying gold thing was involved with a. Sorry, I'm getting some feedback here somewhere. A coming recession, possibly.
now do what now? I'll say it one more time about a recession.
Yeah. Did you mention to CJ whenever you were talking with him about an upcoming recession that we're about to enter into? I might have misunderstood that. I'm sorry. I might have misunderstood.
No, you're good. No, there's definitely not going to be a recession. There's going to be a lot of abundance.
Okay.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of great things happening. You're just seeing the end of the old system. It's kind of flailing and it's losing energy, and it's just we're just creating a new reality for everything. It's
Okay.
So I haven't. I'm sorry to jump in, but I do have
No,
a
yeah,
question. You mentioned the darkness. You mentioned the darkness earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an overarching authority that is pure evil that you guys do fight against? Like, I mean, that's I mean, when you were mentioning the names you're mentioning, they are usually associated with bad things. And I mean, are they part of the other group that that you do defend against, or is it just certain individuals? There's not just a certain group; it's just certain individuals that fit into the criteria that you all try to stop.
I mean, there was different factions. There was different there was like draconians, like the reptilians faction. There were Nordic beings that are human looking, little tall. They call them tall whites. Imagine like there's in these lower dimensions, these lower realms. There's duality and there's good and bad. It don't matter if you have like reptilians. There's good reptilians, not so good reptilians. Okay. So there's mantis beings. There was reptilians. There was these beings called Nordics, kind of like Pleiadians, kind of basically like Pleiadians, but on the bad side,
Okay.
And their agenda was to self-serve, like service to self and to enslave humanity for power and control. And just like anything, we we're just smarter and we beat them out. And we had a lot more forces here. We had the ground crew, like there's millions of us here, and we've been waking up talking about spreading truth, and that's been huge. And then up in space and off planet, there's been a lot of fighting going on, and it was just their time, and we beat them out.
Okay. Wow. That's insane. Sorry to interrupt.
Trump,
Yeah.
No, like Trump talks about, he always says we have because we have everything. We have everything because we created, like we crashed. See, it's all by design. It's called Project Looking Glass, and basically Project Looking Glass, it's like we helped to create the internet. That's a whole nother story, man. I could go into that. It's a really fascinating. We should do that next time. I'll tell you how we took them down.
Yeah.
The time travel is interesting because in that picture, there's actually people that I know right now that were friends that are in that picture. There's a guy named Paul Wilson. He works for the Ministry of Defense in the UK. We're really good friends. There's a girl in that picture who's kind of like, she's about 3 or 4 people down from me, and she's kind of facing this way, looking towards me.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my best friends. She lives in Houston, Texas. Her name's Kelly, and that's her. Yeah. And there's another guy in the picture. He's my friend, good, like one of my soul brothers. His name is Richie Souter, and it's like that new movie called Tenet. Have you guys seen the previews of that movie?
Yeah.
I've not. No.
It's the Christopher Nolan film.
It's about time travel. It's exactly what I'm talking about. And in the preview, it shows that they go backwards in time, and humans go forward in time. See, they haven't experienced this yet. We've already experienced it, and we just go through it backwards. That's why we have intuition, and we have we can kind of have that sense of seeing before it happens.
So right. Deja vu, basically,
exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Deja vu is 2 timelines merging at once, and it's kind of like the bleed through. In fact, I've been here before.
Wow, that's insane.
We actually recently talked about a very similar theory to that on a past episode. So I'm glad to hear that we were kind of right in that manner.
Good. Good. Confirmation.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are probably time traveling. That's how we're talking about this. There's a lot of us here. I mean, it's like, don't you guys wonder like how you know so much and how you can always predict what's going to happen, and you're always right.
Well, that's what I mean. We've talked about deja vu a little bit, and I think that is a form of time travel, so to speak. It's just recessed deep in the levels of subconsciousness that we can't really unlock because, like you mentioned earlier, some of us are kind of on a higher plane than others. But I think that's what deja vu is a form of reliving a past life or a different timeline, or seeing a different dimension maybe, or something like that.
You're spot on. Spot on. Because I'm telling you, like, you can jump timelines. Like, I talk to people on a daily basis, and I've come to learn that like every time you fall asleep, you actually wake up in a new timeline. They just want you to believe. See, they want to keep you and make you have a belief system that it's one continuous timeline. That's how they control billions of people, because they show them these images of what they want you to overlay of a reality and keep people in fear and keep you working in a schedule, and it keeps you doing the same routine over and over and over and over. But now when you figure out that's not how it works, because they call it good morning and waking up, it's all word magic because you're waking from the dead. That's why I say good morning. What's good about morning?
Yeah, not a damn thing. I can tell you that.
Not a damn thing. Because an awake is a funeral. So you're at a funeral and you wake up from your death. It's because you arise, you pulled your consciousness into another reality. And so everybody's on the same reality because they think that that's where they gotta be. So collectively, but now when you get outside of that belief system and start to harness your own consciousness, you can time jump into different timelines.
So,
for instance, like if you guys have ever like fallen asleep and you put your keys on the keychain thing, but you wake up and then the next morning or the next day you get up and your keys aren't there, and they may be like on a desk somewhere or in your coat pocket because you woke up in another time, a slightly different timeline.
wow. So when you were just speaking, like, when you die, so when people think of heaven or the afterlife, basically they're not going to an eternal anything other than just going back to the ships to then take control of another avatar. Is that what basically dying is?
Who made you believe that we die? See, the mind control goes deep. Humans are eternal. Okay, humans, we've been made to see. The collective, have been made to believe that you grow old and you age and you die. Okay, so if I were to buy a 1979 Pontiac Trans Am 455 Firebird, whatever, and I keep it all oiled, armor all it, wax it, vacuum it, get new tires, make sure the engine's good. In 2020, is it going to look different than a 1979 Firebird?
Nope, no, take care of it.
Exactly. This is a device. This is liquid crystal.
Oh, wow.
Crystal. This is a device that collects and assimilates cosmic energy. You're not supposed to age. You created this belief system that you pull your energy and you start to tell your device what to do because you are governing the device. It's a part of you. That's how we get through life. It's like life stands for living infinite functional energy.
Wow.
So you come in and these are devices that house the adamantine particle, which is the God particle. Adam and Eve, the masculine and the feminine energy combined into one. Adamantine, it's the God particle. It's the smallest particle in existence. It's what everything is made of, and that's what you are. That little bitty atom, that's the particle. That's the fractal of the whole, and the whole fractal, and it's housed in your heart. That's where you live. That's what you really are. You are the infinite, divine, omnipresent, omnipotent, divine awareness that lives inside your heart. And this is the device that you created for yourself to have this living, infinite, functional experience on this plane right now with all your soul brothers and sisters.
Dang.
Okay.
These devices can last. They last over 1,000 years.
Really?
And you're supposed to look like this. You're supposed to be young. You're supposed to be youthful. There's no such thing as aging. That's just a concept.
Dang.
Okay.
Now, I know, right? A lot to take in.
Yeah, my gears got to turn for a second. I got to digest.
So like,
Do
ahead,
you
yeah.
do you guys continue to? I mean, do you still travel in time now? I mean, how does it work now that I would call it you kind of had an awakening back in 2017 is the way I would view it, correct? That you kind of your conscious finally realized who you actually were. You're not living behind the veil. You actually can see through the veil now. Do you continue to travel? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah. How does it work, man? It works through consciousness. Like we have different devices or avatars or bodies
Mhm.
in different locations, and you can move your consciousness. Like when you start to be, so when you can be aware of this when you go on the other side, and this takes practice. It takes, breathing exercises. It takes a lot of focus to like pull yourself into another reality. I'm learning, still learning. But I've done it. I do it a lot. And it's like I learned how to do these deep breathing exercises, and I just fade out, and I go into another on the other side to have another experience like I'm having right now,
Wow.
So to another avatar, to another show.
into another me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I kind of because you hear about people and this is kind of getting into, but when you do like psychedelics, for instance, and
Oh yeah.
it releases the I'm have drawn a blank on what the substance is in your brain,
DMT.
but yeah, DMT. Whenever
That,
you actually when that releases and you see the things that your mind sees, is
mhm.
that us actually glimpsing through to the other side, or I mean, is
Have any have any of you ever done DMT?
we have not? No,
No.
no.
Why not? Why
Kind of
not?
a bucket list situation here.
Yeah. DMT is the DMT is a gateway to consciousness. Okay. It's basically you produce it in your lungs through breathing.
Uh-huh.
But you can get it, through the plant, and it
Everything
activates.
produces it, correct? Like, I mean,
Every-
every living being can create DMT.
Yeah, it's something that's already, yeah, it's something
Yeah.
that's already in us, right? But you can do it through because see, it's DMT and THC and psilocybin. It's called plant technology. It's
Mhm.
technology through plants.
Wow.
So we use the technology to get through to the ships. Like the DMT, I've used it, probably over close to 2 dozen times. I've learned how to, inhale it and just fade in, and my consciousness goes, and I go
Goes
off.
away. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I can go through the dome, and go instantly, like instant time travel from here to the ship. Might be, no telling how many millions of light years I am, or it could be, a mile or two, whatever.
Right.
And I've done it where I've seen over the entire universe, like, and
Dang.
yeah,
So
having experiences with,
do
beings.
like do shrooms do the same thing? I mean, or is that a completely different kind of experience?
It's your intentions, you
Mhm.
have to set your intentions. If you're just trying to get messed up, then you'll just get messed up. But you tell the technology what to do, you control it.
And it can basically reset you as a human being.
Right. Absolutely.
That's what I find
'Cause-
so interesting about it is, if the human race could get to the point, which the way you're making it, the way you've explained it, they already have. It's just not they don't allow access to all of us, but they've basically gotten to the point that they can allow that kind of plant technology that you're explaining to allow the human brain to just do whatever it needs to do and to be able to basically go wherever we need to go.
you just learn how to navigate, and you use the technology that's already here on this planet, and and it's your consciousnous that you want to take your consciousness and pull it somewhere else or go somewhere. It just takes as we say, trial and error. It just takes doing it over and over until you get good at it.
Gotcha.
So you
Oh,
start to
that's
use your
crazy.
intentions and your energy to focus, get hyper focused and make it do what you want it to do.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So when you explain projecting your consciousness somewhere else, are you able to, is it like jumping into different dimensions, or is it staying in this dimension and just going to a different place in the universe? Is it going to different times? Can you do all the above at the same time? Like how restrictive is it, I guess is what I'm saying.
It's restricted by your belief systems, and there's no parameters. Everything is real. Everything. See, it's just they box you in, and it's like as you guys are open-minded. So the more open-minded you expand your parameter, and then you get to a point where there is no, because you just let go. You're just in this now moment, and you just no expectations, and you just and you have the most unreal, you have the most amazing experiences. It's real. And it's meant for you to unlock your parts of your life, and that's why it's called real life, because the double helix, it looks like a film reel, and it reels up. Like the magnetics and the light will start to unlock the sequential coded algorithmic information that's stored inside your DNA helix, and it reels up. That's why it's called real life. It's REEL. It reels up like cellulose film has a little, has a little pictures, but on the side it has the little holes where it grabs little hooks and it grabs it up. They get that from our DNA. It's all based on the human being.
Interesting.
Real life, real shit.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. But these are just parts of it. It's gonna show you. It's like it's gonna explain, like, this is like everything. I know it's backwards. This is like the ever present now moment. See, and here's like a linear line. They think what a lot of people think what time is.
Right.
And so, so you maybe come in right here and say like 1979. I got here 79. Right. Well, then you have multiple, let's say you have millions of experiences moment by moment in your 3D life. Okay. And then that's one life. And then you jump out of that reality, and then you start to have a new life. Because when you have near-death experiences, that's part of the technology transfer of consciousness. The soul aspect will leave, and a new soul aspect will come in, and they have a cover story, and they call it a near-death experience. If you guys ever watch the 100 or the Travelers, it shows what they always show you in movies and film, what's really going on.
Yeah, I've watched the 100 is one of my favorite shows. So
yeah.
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, it was just like, it's just, remember, these are devices that we can transfer our consciousness in and and use this device to come into these systems.
In the 100, when they do transfer into the chips that they then implant to the back of the necks of people, like, I mean, that's basically you're saying that we're doing that without actually having to kill another human being. We can just do it on our own accord.
It's just a soul contract, and that contract for that aspect, it may only have a contract for, say, 30 years. After that, then you have this experience where you're at a pool and you nearly drowned, and then you're like, after that, things were never the same. I didn't like this, and everything was different. It's because that other aspect merges with the personality, and you just forget that it merges, and then you just don't ever know. Because the story is, man, I'm so lucky. No, it's like, no, it's a higher aspect of you that came through to have another experience, a higher experience to get you through a different parts of your life. Because
Wow.
your life is eternal. It's just higher aspects of you that keep coming in, and you get to a certain point where you live forever because your belief system and you've cleared all your karma and your soul merges with your personality like mine has back in June, and you find out that you live eternally. These devices, I'm going to be on this planet for the next 1,000 or so years with this body, and watch me. I've been telling people this for the last 3 years. They thought I was crazy, and now it's becoming, people are like, yeah, aging is just a concept, and we don't have to die. They just made you believe that so they can recycle you guys and recycle us for our energy.
Wow.
There's so much I could go and tell you guys now. I love this stuff. So give me some more questions, man. Like, what do you guys want to know?
So I do have a couple here. I've been
Good.
taking notes.
Well, let's hear it. Good.
So I do have a couple things. And I know we're getting close to our time, so I figure we could just kind of wind down with hitting a couple questions and then go from there. Sure. Okay. Now, as far as first question, reptilians, is the queen a reptile?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thought she was.
Yes.
Queen is a reptile. Writing that down.
Yes.
Okay. So now I've heard draconians. I've heard reptilians. Mantis is one I'm not familiar with. Can you elaborate a little bit on mantis for me?
Insectoids, mantises, they're very intelligent species. They're they're very good at genetic, like creating like a geneticist, very intelligent. But they're not all bad.
Right.
They look like a praying mantis.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And and that's odd because that's depicted a lot. You see a lot of that in modern film and stuff. People, and I think a lot of times whenever we do these episodes and we talk about stuff, we find connections that shouldn't be there. We find things that shouldn't exist that do exist.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
So now, when you find that, what does that tell you? Like, what do you feel?
Yeah. Well, it makes me feel like I'm being lied to. So.
Exactly. It's all a lie. The whole 3D experience has been overlaid to make you believe their stories. That's why it's called his story. It's history. It's his story, not our story. It's all word magic.
Any of you have any questions?
I've asked a lot already, so I'll leave it to the other two boys.
I want all y'all to ask questions. No, Tristan, give me another question. We got time. I want all you guys to ask a few more questions. I know you guys got questions.
I do have one. And it's like a legit question. Is Alex Jones involved in this scenario? And I mean, I'm being dead serious because he seems like he's woke on so many levels to certain things that it makes me feel like he could, very easily be involved in this scenario.
I feel he genuinely is telling the truth, and he wants people he's like me and you guys. He wants people, like, you get to certain points of your awakening, your life, and maybe his agenda was different back then, but you can't outdo divinity. You can't outdo what's already going to happen, because we're all made of these God particles of one soul and love, and you start to get to this awareness, and all you align yourself is with truth and the betterment for a species and humanity, and with on a soul level. So maybe then he was different, but that doesn't matter now. I feel he has our best interest.
Mhm.
He's telling you the truth because everything comes from it. It's an internal knowingness that's already built in.
For
Right.
sure. Yeah.
You know, and we just like I'm just flowing, and I'm just telling you guys. You know, there are gonna be people out there that think that guy is out of his mind, but that's okay
Right.
because we're only trying to, you know, connect with people who resonate with what our message is,
Mhm.
and that's it. The rest doesn't matter because
Exactly.
soon the world will know the truth. You can't out the truth. It can be, you know, I guess covered up a little bit for a period of time, but pretty soon everyone's gonna know the truth.
Right.
Be blown wide open. Yeah. Okay.
That's
Wide
why
open.
I like, I mean, that's kind of the mission that I put behind us, and I think a mission you put behind yourself as well is that to those of us, to those that are like us that are out there listening that have questions that they're scared to answer, we might be able to fill in the blanks for them a little bit.
Yeah.
And even if you don't believe in anything that we've said, whether it's in this podcast or any other ones, maybe we can get you to think a little bit, or maybe we can just weed out the ones that are skeptical. You know, like
Open your
that's the
mind a
whole
little more.
that's the whole mission here, is to kind of like to get you thinking a little bit. Just get the wheels turning a little bit.
Mhm.
Because if
Yeah.
you can start asking simple questions like, is my religion real or is my God real? Then that can unlock the door to so many other enlightening questions, I think. And
Yeah.
you know, and it can really just break the levee, so to speak.
No
And
barrier. Yeah.
because that's where it all starts. I feel like that's where it started with me, is questioning religion and questioning not necessarily spirituality or anything like that, but questioning the corporate religion is a way of putting it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. That's
And
good. I like
um that's kind of where it started for me, and that's where I've grown this uh
Belief system.
curiosity, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Curiosity.
But I do have another
Yeah.
question, actually.
Yeah, brother.
One of the first things you mentioned is you said it was interesting how humans have created the technology to do these certain kinds of things, like
Hmm.
uh, dismantle DNA and project consciousness and stuff like that. I'm
Hmm.
wondering, it sounds like your group that you're a part of and the other groups that are around the world universe, what have you, I feel like you want to speak the truth, but in some aspects, you definitely want to keep what you're doing secret. So you can kind of, you don't want to keep secrets at all.
Totally
Okay.
transparent. Yeah.
Okay.
I am so crystal clear because
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
found.
understand that you are. I was just wondering if, like, to accomplish the mission that you want to
Oh, yeah.
accomplish, such as
Yeah.
like finding out these
Yeah.
the ones that finding out the evil in the world, I feel like you kind of want to do that secretly, that way you can actually catch them in the act or whatever, or whatever.
Right.
So I'm just curious on, like, did humans
How do
create
we
the
do it?
technology to find you, or did you and your people create the technology that and gave it to humans, kind of, if
We
that
gave
makes
it to
sense?
the. Oh, that's a
Okay.
great question. Yeah. Yeah. Like they know I like to talk a lot, so it's not like they'll only give me bits and pieces to remember because they know I would like blabbing.
Yeah.
So you know, like, but I've had really big, crazy experiences where it's like been profound to like, so it awakens a lot, you know. But then I go some periods, and you know, where I won't remember anything because I'm not supposed to.
Mhm.
You know, like you're on a need to know basis sometimes because if you were to say too much, it would jeopardize things. You know, so
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
what we did, Project Looking Glass. There's two Project Looking Glasses. One is a time travel. One is the other. That's the real one. And what we did is see the internet has always been around, or the Ethernet and how to communicate. It's something that's always. It just exists. It's just
Mhm.
been given and think it's new now, or these phones, or It's always existed, or ships, or faster than light travel and time. That's always existed. It's just that we think it's new because they tell us it's new. It's not.
Yeah.
Um, so we so one of the things that we did is how we got this game started, and we figured out a way how are we going to communicate and how are we going to find out what everyone's doing on this planet. How can we have a system that we can make them create? And we thought, oh, got a good idea. Why don't we crash one of our ships in Roswell, New Mexico, and we'll put some little clone avatar, little organic avatar beings on there, and we'll crash a ship with some advanced technology, and let's see if the humans can figure out what to do with the technology.
Okay, so you just planted the seed kind of and let the humans run with it, let them kind of reverse engineer it and stuff like that to discover.
And what
Yeah,
and what was one of the things that was on the craft that the humans were just so perplexed? It was fiber optics. Fiber optics.
Okay.
Wow.
And they're like, "Ooh, glass wires. What's that do?" And they started to mess with it and tinker with it, and they figured out you put light through it for information. You can't distort light. You can't like harness like light is something that we up in the ships we can tap into because it's everywhere. So we can have a direct link. So then they started to figure out what it was. Well, about 10 years after the crash, they built this device called the facsimile machine.
Mm-hmm.
That was the birth of the internet. And there lies, that's how we did it. Because then they started to put these facsimile machines and build a network to all of their deep underground military bases and all their bases. And they were communicating and giving out information. And we're just sitting there, eating it up. And now we're building a database on who does what, where everyone is, where all their bases are, who's doing illegal stuff, who's putting weapons here. And then in 1961, the United States Air Force created a Project Looking Glass, where they had been flying these C-130 ships continuously since 1961, 24 hours a day, and they've been gathering information around the world. Wow. And we had to have a cover story, and we had needed funding. We said, oh, it's the Cold War, and so we need to spy on the Russians. But really, we were
spying on everybody,
on ourselves to keep everyone in check. But they thought, oh, we're good. They're just we got no. You're not good.
So it's kind of like in Fast and Furious 7, just to like God's eye, basically knows where every person is at all times, no matter what they're doing. That's what Project Looking Glass was to just spy on every being on the earth.
It was there for a failsafe because see, we knew we had to. We went back to this time and we said, that's how we're going to do it. We're going to build. We're going to have them build us the internet so we can watch what they do, because eventually they're going to start the adrenochrome thing, and they're going to start doing all these. They've already been doing terrible things. Now we just need something to gather intel and information. So now we have proof. And so now that's why you have over 180,000 sealed indictments, because we recode the whole world.
So with the release, with the release of like the Pentagon, speaking of UFOs, and also in the last just few years, Trump has created the Space Force and everything. Are we moving towards this becoming knowledge to the entire world? Is that what you're saying? Like they're fixing to drop the bomb on everybody and let us all know that it's really happening?
You're going to see something where it's undeniable, and everyone in the world is going to know to a certain extent about what's going on. Everything is like, like you have to do your own research, because if I were to go on national television to say this stuff, these people would like laugh me off the stage. And they said this
Yeah.
guy is smoking crack cocaine,
Yeah.
right? But there's gonna be people that be like that makes sense because they listen to their inner that how it feels. And even if Trump went on there and told this stuff, there'd be a lot of people that wouldn't believe him, right? So it doesn't matter what he says. It's like what's believable, like so we gotta show people getting arrested because people know about like obviously some things have been put out and they just can't deny, like all the pedophilia that's happened and some of this other stuff. And so they're gonna have war crimes, and not everyone needs to know all the terrible things,
Right.
like
It'd probably blow all of our minds. We don't want to know all the terrible things.
it would be too much,
Yeah.
it'd be too much for a lot of people, and it doesn't really matter because, like we don't want people to be in more fear and keep them locked in like all that rabbit hole. It's already happened. We're just trying to pull people away from that and get them a different timeline. But yeah, there's going to be something.
So
Absolutely.
is the COVID pandemic associated with this as well? Like, I mean, is that something that's to make us be more fearful and just control the human beings?
Man, that's a whole nother egg right there. I mean, that right there, that was created to like wake people up to like think for themselves, to really think for themselves because it's so much, there's no evidence of anything. And
Right.
I could go into that. I could tell you guys it's completely false. It doesn't even exist. The word OVID, Ovid, means if you look, it's a Latin. These are all Latin words. Ovid means sheep, and the C, COVID, is like citizen sheep. 19. It's all this stuff. I could go in even go further and say viruses don't exist. The word virus comes from a Latin term that comes from the word virulentus and virulent, which means poisonous and corrupt matter. And they shortened this word down, and they've been put it and make people believe that there's some magical unicorn bug floating around that you can transmit something and you're going to get it, but you can't see it, you can't taste it, it's just an idea. Like in the movie
So
Inception.
being sick is just in the mind.
Who made you believe sick even exists? See, here's what I get in a little deeper. We're an electromagnetic device. All we transmit is energy. If you believe that you're sick, then you're going to start to not feel good. And if you eat real bad and smoke and all these things, it's gonna create less energy inside your device because all your blood cells are battery packs. You have 100 trillion battery packs, and that's the corona discharge around when the cell is glowing and has electricity. It's glowing and has a corona ring around the cell. But when you eat and you have less electricity, you get tired. The body starts to, as we say, or the device doesn't work real good. Like your phone, you put a bunch of, corrupt, stuff on it, it runs slower. Now,
Yeah.
is there a magical coronavirus bug? No, it's just information. It's corrupt information. Now it's fear, uncertainty. Fear is the virus. That's the poisonous and corrupt matter that corrupts the unit, and it keeps you in fear. And fear causes, cortisol. It causes all sorts of problems and issues, stress, anxiety, hypertension, all these things.
Wow.
It's the idea, like in the movie
Anxiety.
Inception. Like the movie, he goes, "What's the most highly contagious thing?" He goes, "Is it a tapeworm, a virus, bacteria?" He goes, "The idea,
Yeah.
fully conceptualized
so-
idea."
Just basically the placebo effect. I mean, it's just the way our mind perceives us being sick. I mean, that's crazy. I've never really thought of it that way. So
Yeah,
when someone's a hypochondriac, they are just basically making themselves feel like they're sick or have something wrong with them constantly.
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
They
Gotcha.
think themselves like you get cancer, it's because you thought you created that from an idea. Cancer is just a bunch of blood cells that are coagulated, and the body encases it in a membrane. There's no such thing as cancer. You just have really low electricity flowing through the body, and all these cells have coagulated and they stick together. And the body says, "Oh, those are dying cells," and it wants to encase it so it doesn't cause any more, cells. And you have a tumor, and that's it. But the tumor is not a tumor; it's just encased, and the body is trying to get rid of it. It's trying to find the best way to get rid of it so it doesn't, spread more dead cells in your body, and then they call it cancer, and then you're like, "Oh God, I've got cancer." See, it's inception. Some asshole in a white lab coat told you you're gonna die because now you believe him over yourself because you don't even know yourself.
Right.
And then they start giving you these chemicals that kill you. Well,
Yes.
chemotherapy was used in World War One as like nerve gas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, I
As a
didn't know that
chemical
either.
agent, and they just watered it down. So it's in the 1960s they used it as a treatment, and it killed people in 2 or 3 days. So they're like, "Oh crap, can't do that. Let's give them small doses so it kills them over a long period, and then we can make more money off of them."
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Genocide. Yeah.
Well, Sean,
Yeah, man.
I
really
think we're
appreciate
about
you
to
guys.
start winding down. Man, this has been,
This
Fantastic.
has been enlightening for sure.
mind blowing. We're definitely going to, if you're cool with it, we're going to have you back at a later date too, to talk about some more subjects.
I'd be a little upset if you didn't invite me back.
Well,
You don't got anything to worry.
yeah, you're coming back.
Oh, yeah,
Don't
you're
worry,
definitely coming
coming
back.
Good. I've had a great time with you guys, man. I mean, we can go into, I'm a plethora of knowledge, so it's whatever you guys want to talk about, man. I'm always glad to assist, and, and I like how you guys said earlier, it's about just planting a seed.
Right.
We're not trying to convince anyone. We just want them to think for themselves.
Exactly.
Open their
Exactly.
mind a little bit.
For
Yep.
sure. Go down the
Expand.
rabbit
Yeah,
hole with us.
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
And have fun with it. And have fun. That's all that
Yeah.
matters. Have fun.
Yeah, yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. All right, well, yeah, if we're gonna start winding down here, thanks guys for joining us. Thanks everybody out there for listening. Sean, a special thank you for coming out and joining us tonight, man. We really appreciate it a lot, and we're super excited to have you back next time for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, love you guys. And just real quick, guys, check out my website. It's called Galactivision. Okay, that's GALACTIVISION, galactivision.com. I have a group on Facebook called Galactivision, and yeah, and you can find me on Facebook, guys. It's there. Any of you out there, it's Sean Christopher, and you'll see me on there. And
Sounds good.
so
Yeah,
I'll be back on,
we'll
guys.
link your Galactivision site to our links as well when we upload this. So
Okay, great. Well, thank you guys for having me on. It's really been an
Thanks,
honor. And
Sean.
you
Yes,
guys
sir.
are amazing. Keep on doing what you're
Yeah.
doing, man.
thank you
See you,
very
dude.
much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
All right. So now that Sean is out of here, we can kind of digest what he was feeding us. And man, there's so much stuff. My mind is blown.
Yeah, there's a lot. And I mean, I asked a question about the DMT because like I felt like if anything that's the way that human beings become enlightened. And it's really hitting the scene in the last just few years from, my understanding, it's not really been a big thing. And if that's the case, then if it's the key to opening the human mind, like we've kind of speculated in the past,
Yep.
holy crap.
It's just
definitely
it's fun.
Go ahead.
It's just fun watching. Like he would bring up topics, and there was one point, I think with
Adrenochrome.
adrenochrome, and you could see literally all three of us were just like, Hold on, wait a minute.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Is literally like, okay, to bring it back to what Tyler said. Yeah, you're right. I think that DMT and psychedelics are a way of breaking down the wall that has been put up in our subconscious.
The barrier that he's saying the glasses,
Yeah.
or that
Yeah.
basically it's just allowing us to see reality
Yeah.
for what it really is.
It's a way for us to step into the truth, step into the
Exactly.
light,
Exactly.
reach that real dimension. But yeah, like you said, he literally like. So I'm sitting here listening to him and everything, and I'm going like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And then he drops these key words that, if you've listened to our past episodes and you've been a real listener, then you might know that I'm kind of the one that has trailed off and gone into these deep theories on not only Anunnaki but adrenochrome as well. And he dropped those two specific phrases in there, and I was just mind blown. Like,
I'm literally gonna make a commercial out of your face when he says Anunnaki. I'm ready. I'm cutting it as soon as this is over. I'm cutting it out.
Man, that's like my thing. Is like I have been fascinated, and I am fascinated, and I do think, I don't care what anybody else says, I think it's the truth that there was a civilization here before us, and whether that civilization was humans that had just become extremely advanced and wiped themselves out, or whether that the Anunnaki is I think that's what honestly probably what it is there was an advanced civilization before us, yes, but I believe the Anunnaki themselves are a group of multidimensional beings that have delivered us technology and delivered us enlightenment.
So they're higher up than we are even. Like, I mean.
Yes, thousands and thousands of years. Yeah. I'm saying basically the Pleiadians that Sean mentioned, I believe. Now I'm gonna just say what I think here. The Pleiadians that he's mentioning, that he spoke to, and that he basically has become a part of, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they were part of Galacta.
Yeah.
Well, the Palladians are the humans, right? Like the ones that he basically.
Yeah, but I believe that is the Anunnaki.
Yeah.
That the Anunnaki and the Pleiadians are kind of the same thing.
Another thing that you oftentimes hear Palladians in reference to is Atlantis, which we can open that can of worms another time. But you often hear
we do need to get into that.
And Atlantis.
We need to get into Atlantis.
Used together.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Atlantis to me is the super advanced civilization. I mean, you have Atlantis, and then you have what's the there's a city that's
Hyperborea.
like yeah, but I can't think of it. It's a city of gold. I can't remember.
El Dorado.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's lots of different lost civilizations that to me were, I mean, probably ran by what he's talking about. And it's kind of crazy. He didn't go crazy into specific different alien races other than the draconians, which I'm assuming draconians and the lizard people are the same, correct? I mean, that's what I got from that.
That's what I gathered, was that
the
draconians were a lizard-like.
I was gathering that reptilians weren't always draconians. That draconians are
draconians are kind of the more nefarious group of the the draconians are like think of like the Nazis and normal humans. Whereas like humans is the species, reptilian is the species, draconians, Nazis is the organization.
Okay.
I think that's what I mean, we probably should have.
I think that's what I was gathering from that as well.
Yeah. Super crazy shit is all I can say, because I mean, like, I went into this very skeptical, not even gonna lie, but by the end of it, and as the questions we asked, he responded to with very legit answers. I mean, it was I mean, I was trying hard to ask questions that were, but he answered to me every time with a very well made answers. So
and another thing to note, this is the first show he's came on. he hasn't been on other shows doing this story. He hasn't been out there. We literally found him because of a Facebook comment by a friend of his that said that was him in the picture.
I know.
It's not like this guy is running around the world just trying to
Telling this story to over and over again.
Yeah.
This is not a rehearsed a story.
Exactly.
And if you
Is
go
what
to
we're
his
getting at.
Facebook page, he made the post about being the man in the picture. Not too many months ago.
Yeah.
And it's just something I feel like that he's been waiting for the right moment to reveal it. And then here we come in and our podcast uses that picture as our cover photo. And then, it just kind of the way it all aligned. It's just, I think it worked out really well to get him to where he can reveal the truth or his truth or whatever truth it is he's telling us.
Yeah. And there's some things that I have a harder time swallowing, obviously. I'll just be completely blunt. There's some things I have a harder time swallowing on his end. But I will tell you that first 30 minutes, I would have believed whatever that man told me.
Yeah.
Like,
it was really cool.
The stuff he's telling me, it makes sense. It's not just that it's something that I would want to believe or something that makes
it's not just
actual
interesting.
sense.
It's
The thing that blew my mind was the pyramids. And the reason why is because there have always been theories that there are pyramids on other planets as well.
Yeah.
And like Mars, there's been speculation that there's pyramids. And it really, really, when he started saying that they were the engines of the worlds, that really kind of blew my mind. And we've always speculated that something other than humans built the pyramids, and we never have really got a reason for what the pyramids are for. And the fact that multiple civilizations throughout history have almost the same structure, it really makes sense. Yeah. It really makes sense.
And not just the same structure, but the same structure for reasons that don't make sense, right? They're always a religious or burial purpose. They're not to house people or things like that. Like when you get in South America.
Well, like he said, is that they're the middle line basically between the light that we and the electricity that we draw from space and the magnetism that we draw from the earth. And like you said, pyramids are always associated with the heavens or the stars or burial, which is putting things in the earth. So it just makes sense. They're the middle ground between them. Yeah.
For sure. Really, really cool.
That's the thing is that I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are going to be like, oh, that's, the pyramids were built by ramps. And whatever, you can believe what you want to believe. I'm going to believe what I want to believe.
We're not here to tell you what to believe. We're here to give our thoughts and ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's just that.
Exactly. And
some of this stuff just makes too much sense. So,
and having people like Sean on that offers a completely different take on reality, it really kind of helps you kind of understand. We can sit here and theorize all we want to, but until we get somebody that actually lives that and it is who they are, then it really helps you kind of understand the whole concept.
Right. I agree.
Really cool to me.
We probably want to wind down. We're getting long. CJ, can you make me some money real quick?
Oh, well, just what do we want to talk about? How this episode was kind of weird.
Yeah, I guess so. It was a little weird.
Yeah, Thread Weird. That's the sponsor again. This episode's been a lot to take in, so just go ahead and head on over to threadweird.com. That's THREADWEIRD.com. Use the promo code Rabbit Hole for 10% off your purchase, and yeah.
And if you go over there and don't use the code Rabbit Hole, I'm gonna kick your ass. Okay, just to be clear.
Yeah. Boys, it's been a good one. I am excited to have him back for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks guys for doing this again. Thanks everybody for coming out here and listening. I want to send another shout out to Sean. Thank him for coming on tonight. And like we said before, ask the questions,
Mhm.
go down the rabbit hole, and we'll see you next time.